Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Modi Gambhir. Let's get started. Our top focus tonight is on how three of Trump's most high-profile peace deals, spanning from different parts of the world, are now showing signs of tension. We are getting you the complete story and the larger implications of these developments. That's coming up in just a bit. Also on the show for you tonight, Gaza bracing for heavy rainfall, life-threatening floods. We tell you all that you need to know about the situation on the ground. Also getting you the latest on the indigo crisis in India and where things stand right now. All this and more coming up.
But if you mediate, we don't want a piece of paper. We want peace. We want peace that is sustainable.
Just months after US President Donald Trump claimed that he had stopped 7 wars, 3 of the most high-profile peace deals spanning from Asia, Africa and Europe are now showing signs of collapse. Tensions rising, ceasefires fraying it seems, and fighting has resurfaced in parts where Trump had declared diplomatic victory. Let's just break this down for you. And we are starting off with Southeast Asia, where border violence between Thailand and Cambodia escalated sharply. In the past few days, clashes along the disputed frontier have intensified. The death toll from the new wave of violence has now risen to 10. Cambodia's defense ministry saying Thai forces shelled Cambodian positions overnight, killing 2 civilians and injuring 20 others. Thailand has confirmed that 1 soldier was killed, 18 injured in the fighting. The Thai army acknowledged conducting a tank-fired operation against a compound on the Cambodian side of the border, calling it a response to Cambodian provocations. Meanwhile, the diplomatic heat is also rising. Thailand's foreign minister warning that tariff threats should not be used to force Bangkok into talks, stressing that it is up to Cambodia to de-escalate.
We don't think tariffs should be used to pressure Thailand to get back to the joint declaration, to get back to a dialogue process. No. I think the situation regarding Thailand and Cambodia has to be resolved on the basis of its own dynamics.
The renewed violence follows Thai airstrikes early this week, and it is the most serious flare-up since July's 5-day war and the expanded ceasefire signed in October, which Trump hailed as a major breakthrough. But Southeast Asia is not the only region where Trump's peace efforts are faltering. In Europe, Trump's most politically sensitive diplomatic push, his Ukraine peace plan, is also facing a lot of questions. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has rejected Moscow's demand reportedly that Kiev cede the entire Donbas region. Now, that's a central element of the US proposal, remember. It's widely seen as favorable to Moscow. Ukraine says it is preparing a Europe-backed counter-proposal after an emergency summit in London with Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron and the German Chancellor.
Support peace and peace negotiations to have a sustainable, a robust peace. And
now, Trump has expressed frustration, accusing Zelensky of not reading his peace plan and mocked Europe's role in the process. Meanwhile, Zelensky said that he will present a new peace plan to Washington. Zelensky warned that little progress is expected anytime soon as the nearly 4-year war appears no closer to a resolution. But for Ukraine, the position is firm. Despite accelerated U.S. diplomatic efforts, the two sides remain deadlocked, and without agreement on territory, the deal cannot move forward. In Africa, meanwhile, Trump's much-publicized announcement of a historic peace treaty between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo is now under strain. Tensions have reignited despite a U.S. brokered agreement ratified just days ago that is aimed at ending the decades of the bloodshed and granting U.S. firms preferential access to Congolese minerals, reportedly. Even as presidents of the two sides met in Washington to ratify the deal, their cold and it seemed avoidant body language raised doubts about the future. And within days, in fact, accusing Rwanda of violating the agreement after M23 rebels seized the town of Luwungi. And a bomb blast in eastern Congo killed more than 30 people. The fragile peace Trump celebrated is now clearly unraveling. And the big picture is impossible to ignore here. From Asia's borderlands to Africa's mineral-rich east, Europe's war-torn frontier, Trump's peace deals, which he once touted as diplomatic triumphs, are unraveling almost simultaneously. The resurgence of violence and breakdown of the trust raising serious questions about the durability of these agreements. Gaza stands amid a staggering landscape of destruction as mountains of debris continue to overwhelm emergency workers and the survivors there. And according to an assessment by the United Nations, the war has reduced nearly every corner to rubble, with 81% of all buildings either destroyed or damaged. 81%. The United Nations estimating the devastation has created nearly 68 million tons of rubble. Just for perspective here, that is equivalent to 27 Taj Mahals or 186 Empire State Buildings. That's the scale we are talking about. The UNDP saying it could take 5 to 7 years to clear the rubble from Gaza. And that timeline basically depends heavily on funds and on whether Israel permits heavy equipment into the territory. And so far, only 209,000 tons have been cleared, representing a fraction of what lies across the strip. But the debris is not ordinary. It's reportedly laced with toxic materials, unexploded munitions, and in many cases, human remains, reportedly. Palestinian authorities saying the bodies of around 10,000 people are still believed to be trapped beneath the ruins. And against that backdrop, Gaza's Civil Defense Agency has started exhuming the remains of the bodies buried on the grounds of Al-Shifa Hospital. According to the agency, workers exhumed more than 150 bodies from the Al-Shifa Hospital. This operation follows another mass recovery just 24 hours earlier when more than 45 bodies were retrieved from the rubble of the hospital.
Since this morning, we have directed the process of recovering large numbers of martyrs who were buried in the courtyards and squares of Al-Shifa Hospital. Yesterday, more than 45 bodies of martyrs were recovered from Al-Ali Arab Baptist Hospital. Today, more than 150 bodies of martyrs were recovered from these courtyards to be transferred to the Forensic Evidence Department and then to the legal and Islamic cemeteries.
And amid the crisis, a new threat is on the horizon. Meteorologists warning that heavy rainfall is likely to hit the region in the coming days, raising fears that flooding could complicate the rescue and recovery efforts. The storm, which pummeled Greece last week, is now expected to reach Israel on Wednesday, bringing 100 to 150 millimeters of rain, winds of up to 80 kilometers per hour, with much of the rainfall forecast to fall in a very short span of time. And let's now shift our focus to a breakthrough that could reshape the future of hypersonic weapons. China claims to have developed a new way to extract boron from seawater. It basically serves as a crucial fuel for engines powering hypersonic missiles. And that discovery could potentially give China a major military edge. Scientists in China are saying they have created a solar-powered system that pulls it directly out of seawater. And this is crucial because this substance is scarce, and China reportedly needs more of it than any other part of the world. But Turkey and the United States reportedly produce most of the world's boron minerals. How exactly does China extract it from seawater is the immediate question. Let's just break this down. A thin gel sheet floats on seawater. Sunlight heats the top layer to produce fresh water, while the lower layer traps that substance. And this process not only cleans the seawater, but also collects the valuable element required for hypersonic missiles. And how exactly does this help China? Hypersonic weapons travel at 5 times the speed of sound, remember. They are fast, they are precise, and extremely hard to intercept. Any advantage in fuel supply could potentially change the balance of the military power in itself. And according to Chinese researchers, lab tests show the system repeatedly extracts large amounts of the element without losing efficiency. While outdoor trials also confirm that no boron leaked into the purified water, making the process safe for long-term use. But is this the beginning of a new race is also the question here. Not just for the weapons, but also for the minerals that fuel them. And most importantly, how will other countries react if China gains a steady supply of the strategic elements straight from the ocean? Regardless, one thing is clear. As hypersonic technology advances, even elements hidden in seawater could become tools of global military dominance. India's government has decided to slash Indigo's flight schedule by 10% after the country faced one of its worst aviation crises in decades. The decision came as the Indigo CEO met with the Ministry of Civil Aviation in the national capital. The regular had earlier directed a 5% cut. However, with the current order, would mean a reduction of around 200 flights on a daily basis. The airlines currently operating about 2,200 flights. And in his video message, the Indigo CEO said he is sorry to have let down thousands of passengers. The CEO claimed that on the 8th day of working to stabilize the conditions, the airline is on track to resume nearly 2,000 flights across 138 locations in the country.
Today, I'm here to share that your airline, Indigo, is back on its feet and our operations are stable. I can confirm now that today, as of December 9th, our operations are fully stabilized, which means flights reflecting on our website are scheduled to operate with an adjusted network.
Meanwhile, DGCA has asked India's largest airline to cut flights by 5%, which is roughly equal to around 2,300 flights on a daily basis. And this will translate into a reduction of at least 115 flights. A DGCA panel is also investigating Indigo's flight disruptions. Sources saying the airline CEO and COO are reportedly expected to be summoned. During the NDA parliamentary meeting, the Indian Prime Minister also expressed his concern over the rampant cancellations as conveyed by the Union Minister, Kiren Rijiju. The Prime Minister told NDA MPs that people should not be troubled, face inconvenience. Rules and laws are good, but in order to correct the system, it's not right to harass people. In fact, the Civil Aviation Minister also held a review meeting with senior ministry officials to assess the ongoing crisis. And speaking on the Indigo crisis, the minister vowed that Indigo will be held accountable. Listen to this.
Operations are stabilizing fast. Safety remains fully in force. Indigo is being held accountable. Passengers' convenience and dignity are being protected, and long-term measures are underway to make India's aviation sector stronger and more passenger-centric.
And the Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Civil Aviation also came to conduct a surprise check at the Mumbai airport. The airport authorities have informed that at least over 400 flights were cancelled across the country, with over 150 cancellations at the Delhi airport. 121 flights were cancelled at the Bengaluru airport, 58 in Hyderabad and 41 in Chennai. And before we go on any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. How long can Trump shield Hegseth, and what's really happening behind the scenes? Getting you a detailed report. Special story on Japan issuing first official mega quake warning. A social media use linked to ADHD in children, telling you what a study says. All this and more coming up. Washington locked in a crisis. Washington locked in a crisis, Trump defending his war secretary as a secret strike video tears through Pentagon. Did orders from the top trigger a double tap strike on a Venezuelan boat is the question being asked. American public and lawmakers seeking answers. And at the center of it all is President Trump. Our next report telling you all that you need to know.
We've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean.
A political storm is battering Washington. President Donald Trump has thrown his full weight behind War Secretary Pete Hegseth as outrage builds over a leaked video showing what witnesses call a double tap strike on a Venezuelan patrol boat. The incident, now under congressional investigation, has plunged the Pentagon into a credibility test. For now, Trump says it's up to Hegseth to release the video at the center of the storm.
He now says it's under review. Are you ordering the secretary to release that full video?
Whatever he decides is okay with me. So every boat we knock out of the water, every boat, we save 25,000 American lives. That was a boat loaded up with drugs. I saw the video. They were trying to turn the boat back to where it could float. And we didn't want to see that because that boat was loaded up with drugs just like everything else.
The controversy stems from a September 2nd attack on an alleged drug smuggling boat in the Pacific. An initial strike left survivors, with a follow-up attack killing those two people. According to reports, the Venezuelan vessel had already been hit once and disabled when a second missile tore through the hull. On Capitol Hill, frustration is boiling. Both Republican and Democrat lawmakers have joined forces in a rare show of unity, demanding the Pentagon release the strike orders. The strikes on alleged drug-carrying vessels have become an increasing concern of Congress. Trump calls it war against narco-terror, but experts are pointing at potential international crimes.
We have our two men who were struck out of the blue by an airstrike, okay, clinging in desperation to a vessel and trying to ride it so they don't drown, okay? Seems incredibly horrific situation, and then the U.S. government kills them. Okay, the premeditated killing of people outside of armed conflict we typically refer to as murder.
Behind closed doors, senior officials fear that once broadcast, the footage could trigger international backlash from the UN to The Hague. Venezuela is furious warning of retaliation. As pressure mounts, the question now is not whether Hegseth gave the order, but how far the White House is willing to go to protect him.
The United States Congress has initiated steps to restrict the Pentagon's authority to withdraw forces from South Korea and Europe. In fact, according to reports, the newly finalized 2026 National Defense Authorization Act keeps the U.S. troop levels in Europe and South Korea roughly where they stand today. And the bill bars the Pentagon from cutting the European deployment below 76,000 troops without first proving to the Congress that such reductions would not undermine American or NATO security interests. It applies similar safeguards in South Korea, where any drop below 28,500 troops would require guarantees that deterrence against North Korea remains fully intact and that regional allies have been consulted. The legislation also codifies into law the American hold on the NATO's most senior military position, the Supreme Allied Commander Europe. That role has always been filled by a U.S. general, and the U.S. Congress appears to make sure that it stays that way. These restrictions come amid reports that the Pentagon is contemplating scaling back forces in Europe and South Korea and even exploring whether to relinquish the NATO command post. It also comes amid reports that the United States wants Europe to take over the majority of NATO's defense capabilities, from intelligence to missiles, by 2027. According to reports, the United States is likely to retain the position of the NATO Supreme Command, but could offer some other top military post to European partners. Reacting to the reports, the Pentagon said that it remains committed to strengthening the NATO while encouraging Europe to assume greater responsibility for its own security. The Congress bill also allocates $400 million over 2 years for the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative and outlines the limited circumstances under which undelivered U.S.-funded equipment for Ukraine can be repurposed for American military needs. In fact, the annual defense policy bill, is expected to go to a House vote this week, with the U.S. Congress reportedly aiming to have it on U.S. President Donald Trump's desk before Christmas. Saudi Arabia, once the fortress of strict alcohol bans, has quietly cracked open the door. It has uncorked the portal for non-Muslim foreign residents. But there is a catch here, and it goes straight for your wallet. The non-Muslim foreigners can enjoy alcohol there, but only if they earn enough money to qualify. They can purchase alcohol in Saudi Arabia if they earn more than 50,000 riyals, or roughly $13,300 per month. According to reports, non-Muslim residents have to prove their income by showing a salary certificate, this in order to gain entry to the country's only liquor outlet, located in Riyadh. The store opened last year for sales to foreign diplomats and recently extended access to non-Muslims with so-called premium residency status. Customers at the Riyadh outlet can make purchases under a monthly point-based allowance system. Reports suggesting new liquor stores are also being built in 2 cities elsewhere in the country. However, there has been no official communication about the changes from the authorities. For the Saudi authorities, the motivations for expanding alcohol sales are clear. The kingdom is seeking more highly educated foreigners, this under the pressure to boost tourism and non-oil revenue as part of its economic diversification plan. In the past several years, the country has reversed a ban on women driving, allowed public entertainment, music, and the mixing of genders, and encourage tourism. The pace of change highlights how delicate a task it is really to modernize the kingdom, the birthplace of Islam and home to the religion's two holiest sites. A full-blown bidding war has erupted in Hollywood after Paramount launched an all-cash offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery for $108.4 billion. This comes after the historic Hollywood giant gave the keys to its studio and streaming assets to Netflix in an $82.7 billion deal reportedly. Critics, including the Senator Chris Holland, raised serious questions over Paramount's bid, citing connections with President Donald Trump reportedly. In a social media post, Holland flagged Trump family's involvement in Paramount's bid reportedly, saying this bolsters their case and this cannot stand. Paramount is offering $30 per share in cash. The company believes its proposal offers far higher upfront value and a quicker, cleaner exit than Netflix's part cash, part stock structure. Paramount's bid covers everything, including CNN and Discovery networks, reportedly, making this one of the largest takeover attempts in media history. In fact, Paramount reportedly has accused Warner's Discovery of running an unfair and predetermined sale process that favors Netflix. The proposed offer is backed by $40.7 billion in committed equity financing, supported by the Ellison family, Redbird Capital, Gulf Sovereign Wealth Funds, and Trump's son-in-law's affinity partners, reportedly. And speaking of Trump, the US president also weighed in on the Netflix deal, warning of potential issues due to the sheer market power it creates. The administration has already signaled tougher scrutiny of mega mergers in streaming, and that oversight could directly influence who wins. Paramount is using that to its advantage, reportedly, claiming its deal faces far greater regulatory certainty because Netflix already dominates streaming, while Paramount remains a smaller player. Market confidence in Netflix reportedly emerging victorious remains grim. Bets on Polymarket down to 16%, down sharply since Paramount's offer went public. It had earlier fallen after Trump's comments on the deal. But analysts warning this takeover clash could drag on for months. The merger could become a spectacle, drawing in shareholders, regulators, politicians, and Hollywood's biggest player. But one thing is clear, the winner of this battle will not just buy a studio. They could reshape the future of Hollywood itself. When our planet roared beneath Japan, once again cars swayed, alarms blared, Tokyo held its breath, a jolt that shook 90,000 people. Yet only hinted at the nightmare scientists say could come next. Now Japan facing its darkest warning yet, a mega quake that could kill 18,000 reportedly and cost over $535 billion.
The tremor rippled through Japan. The cameras caught it all. Cars rocking violently in parking lots. Store shelves and rattling like drums. CCTV footage of ceiling panels swaying in office towers. This is the terror of 7.6 magnitude tremor. The earthquake struck off the eastern coast of Aomori Prefecture around 11:16 p.m., local time sending shockwaves across Japan.
This time, a tsunami warning was issued fairly early after the earthquake, with an alert issued for Iwate Prefecture, so I was braced for it. Tsunami, this time.
We debated whether to evacuate, but it's scary if something happens. So we decided to immediately evacuate and came here.
The country breathed a sigh of relief. No major structural collapse, no mass casualties. Still, the shaking was enough to send a chill through a country that's learned never to take the ground for granted. Then came the grim bulletin from Japan's meteorological agency. It has issued a comprehensive megaquake warning, urging residents to stay alert for at least 1 week. According to Japan's cabinet office, a direct hit on the capital could kill up to 18,000 people and unleash more than $535 billion. A megaquake, defined as an extremely powerful tremor of magnitude 8.0 or greater, it could unleash large tsunamis along the entire of Japan's Pacific coast. Tuesday's notice was the first time this top-tier alert has been issued since the warning system was launched in 2022. Japan sits on the intersection of 4 massive tectonic plates, a geological trap responsible for some of the deadliest quakes in modern history. From the 1995 Kobe disaster to the 2011 Tohoku quake, thousands of people died in both earthquakes. The country has endured tragedies that reshaped its emergency systems, but officials warn that the capital has never truly been tested by the worst-case urban scenario. And as aftershocks continue to shake the nation, one message echoes across Tokyo's skyline: this was not the big one, but the big one will come.
The DMK party and the opposition alliance members have submitted an impeachment notice against the Madras High Court judge G.R. Swaminathan over the lamp lighting row. The notice is signed by 120 MPs and delivered to the Lok Sabha Speaker. It accuses the judge of lacking judicial impartiality and favouring certain lawyers and political ideologies. It was filed under Articles 217 and 124 of the Indian Constitution. The move comes amid a heated dispute over the judge's recent order allowing the lighting of a traditional lamp at a hilltop site in Tamil Nadu that includes both a Hindu temple and a nearby dargah. The state government refused to enforce the ruling, citing security concerns, triggering protests, and the controversy has escalated. Opposition leaders from the state have sharply criticized the impeachment attempt, calling it politically motivated and alleging pressure on the judiciary. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear the Tamil Nadu government's plea, challenging the High Court order, setting the stage for a significant legal and political battle. In Punjab, a major political controversy erupted inside the Congress party. Dr. Navjot Kaur Sidhu, wife of former cricketer turned politician Navjot Singh Sidhu, has been suspended by the party after her explosive rupees 500 crore suitcase remark. In fact, the suspension coming despite multiple clarifications from her side, which failed to satisfy the party leadership. In fact, the row started on December 6 when Sidhu, after meeting Punjab governor, suggested that the one who gives a suitcase of rupees 500 crore becomes the chief minister. The comment sparked a major political storm, with the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party using it to target the Congress and accuse it of money-driven politics. And when asked why Navjot Singh Sidhu was not returning to active politics, she said he would do so only if the Congress declared him its chief ministerial face for 2027, adding that they did not have rupees 500 crores to buy the post. Dr. Sidhu later attempted damage control on social media, claiming that her words were twisted and insisting that the Congress had never demanded money from her or her husband. Despite her explanations, the party felt that the damage was done. The suspension is widely seen as an attempt by the Punjab Congress to contain internal dissent ahead of the crucial elections. The party is already dealing with factionalism, public allegations of corruption from a senior leader's family member threatened to widen rift and also hurt the party's image. The comments also rekindled old tensions around Navjot Singh Sidhu's own relationship with the leadership. Navjot Singh Sidhu, remember, has remained silent on his wife's suspension, but these developments also placing him in a delicate position with the ongoing speculation about the 2027 leadership and his own political future. This row could impact his standing within the party. The suspension of Dr. Navjot Kaur Sidhu highlighting the deeper tensions within the Punjab Congress. Her remarks, seen as damaging and unfounded by the party leaders, have given rival parties ammunition and raised questions about the leadership struggles as the party heads towards the key elections. A major new flashpoint has emerged in the United States over the rapid expansion of artificial intelligence. More than 230 environmental groups, including Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, and Food and Water Watch, have called for a national moratorium on new data centers. The coalition saying the boom in AI-powered facilities is driving up electricity bills, straining water supplies, and fueling the climate crisis. The groups have sent a letter to the members of the Congress warning that the rapid and unregulated rise of data centers is threatening economic, environmental, and water security of Americans. They argue that no new facilities should be approved until tougher rules are in place. The pushback comes as tech giants like Meta, Google, OpenAI pour hundreds of billions of dollars into new infrastructure to power AI. But this build-out has already run into resistance. At least 16 projects reportedly worth a combined $64 billion have been blocked or delayed due to community opposition over rising electricity costs and massive water use. What started out as local concerns, now turning into a major national political force. Rising power bills becoming a central campaign issue, helping Democratic candidates score surprise wins in states like Virginia, New Jersey, even in a Public Service Commission race in Georgia. Voters across party lines pointing fingers at data centers. And this could spell trouble for President Trump, who has promoted AI growth while also calling himself the affordability president. But electricity prices have risen 13% reportedly during his term, and about 80 million Americans are struggling to pay their power and gas bills. Experts saying many factors are driving up costs, from aging power lines to extreme weather damage, but it's the surging energy demand from data centers that is capturing the public's anger. Electricity use from AI-related facilities is expected to nearly triple in the next decade, the equivalent of powering 190 million new homes. Environmentalists also warning of a steep climate impact. At current growth rates, data centers could emit 44 million tons of carbon dioxide by 2030, similar to putting 10 million more cars on the road. But for voters, the most immediate concern is not the climate crisis, it's their monthly bills. Groups like Food and Water Watch saying they have been amazed by the bipartisan grassroots opposition to data center expansion, with communities fearing that they will shoulder the costs while seeing few benefits. And as the power prices continue to rise, AI continues to grow, of course, the politics of electricity and the question of who pays for it is rapidly becoming one of the most important ones. With Australia leading the way and banning social media use for those under 16, should other parts of the world follow suit or not? Is a ban too much, or is it the need of the hour? How does social media use impact children? These are some of the questions that are being asked daily, given the move taken by Australia and the larger issues at play. And now a study painting a rather grim picture. According to it, using social media may impair children's attention. Basically, children who spend a significant amount of time on social media tend to experience a gradual decline in their ability to concentrate. This is according to a comprehensive study published in Pediatrics Open Science. Researchers followed more than 8,000 children from around age 10 through age 14. The use of screens and digital media has risen sharply in the past 15 years, coinciding with that rise in ADHD diagnosis in Sweden and elsewhere. Researchers have now investigated a possible link between screen habits and ADHD-related symptoms. Let's just tell you more about the study. It followed 8,324 children between the ages of 9 and 10 in the USA for 4 years, with the children reporting how much time they spent on social media, watching TV, videos, playing video games, their parents assessing their levels of attention and hyperactivity or impulsiveness. The study suggests that it is specifically social media that impacts children's ability to concentrate. Social media does mean constant distractions in the form of messages and even notifications, affecting the ability to stay focused, and could explain the association to many. All of this might not even seem surprising. What was also found is that the association was not influenced by socio-economic background or a genetic predisposition towards ADHD. Children who already had symptoms of inattentiveness did not start to use social media more, which suggests that the association leads from use to symptoms and not vice versa. While the effect on concentration was small at the individual level, at a population level, it could have a significant impact. So greater consumption of social media might explain part of the increase being seen in ADHD diagnosis, even if ADHD is also associated with hyperactivity, which did not increase in the study. Basically, the researchers stress that the results do not imply that all children who use social media develop concentration difficulties, but there is reason to discuss age limits and platform design. The hope is that the findings will help parents and policymakers make well-informed decisions on healthy digital consumption. The researchers now plan to follow the children after the age of 14 to see if this association holds. A new cosmic rebel has burst into the solar system, spinning faster than the laws of physics allow. An object that refuses to behave like anything natural. And just when we thought the comet was the strangest wanderer, the universe is sending something even wilder, it seems. Our next story telling you more.
The universe just got stranger. We thought 3I Atlas, with its impossible thrust and strange tail, giving rise to the alien tech theory, was the apex of celestial mystery. But now, NASA is tracking something far more weird. An asteroid moving in a way that simply should not be possible. This object is not merely accelerating unnaturally. It is breaking the spin barrier. Traditional asteroids and comets spin, but within predictable limits dictated by their tensile strength and gravitational forces. Exceed those limits and they disintegrate into dust. Yet, now 3I is rotating at a rate that should have torn it to shreds millennia ago. Its observed spin, calculated by multiple independent observatories, is beyond the theoretical maximum for a body of its estimated size and composition. It's like watching a car wheel spin so fast it should explode, but it simply doesn't. This is not a case of outgassing or asymmetrical ice distribution, the usual explanations for strange cometary behavior. This is a solid object, defying the very physics of cohesion. Scientists are stunned, admitting they have no conventional explanation. The only alternatives are truly mind-bending. Either the object possesses an unknown, incredibly strong material, or it is being held together by an artificial internal force field. The implications are staggering. If it's a natural phenomena, It requires a complete rewrite of our understanding of material science in extreme cosmic environments. If it is artificial, then it becomes chillingly literal. It's not just an asteroid, and it's not just like 3I Atlas. It is a piece of engineered hardware designed to withstand forces that would destroy natural rock. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
A vanished light in the ancient sky may finally have a scientific script. A NASA astronomer now claiming the Star of Bethlehem was not a miracle dot frozen in heaven. Our next story explaining how ancient mystery collides with modern science, and a shimmering visitor from the past may finally claim its place in history.
A bright object streaking across the sky nearly 2,000 years ago, recorded by Chinese astronomers in 5 BC, could be the real Star of Bethlehem, says NASA planetary scientist Mark Matney. His calculations, published in the British Astronomical Association journal, show that a comet passing extraordinarily close to Earth might have created exactly the strange celestial behavior described in the Gospel, rising in the east, guiding travelers, then seeming to stand still above the birthplace of Jesus. The scientist dug into ancient Chinese court records that speak of a star visible for over 70 days in 5 BC. Using modern orbital modeling, he identified a trajectory where that comet passed within lunar distances, roughly 380,000 to 400,000 km of Earth. At that proximity, the comet's own eastward speed could nearly cancel out Earth's rotation. A celestial body that appears fixed in the sky, hovering, stationary, as if waiting. A temporary geosynchronous motion, as engineers call it. For eyewitnesses traveling south from Jerusalem to Bethlehem, the comet would have seemed to lead their path and then hang above their destination. While this theory does not prove the star was the comet, other ideas hold sway, like planetary conjunctions or even a supernova. It may be the first astronomical explanation that matches both motion and might. In a sky lit by mystery, light may finally meet history.
Moving on for now, a NASA astronaut and 2 Russian cosmonauts are back on planet Earth. They have spent 8 months aboard the International Space Station. In fact, they touched down in Kazakhstan, wrapping up a mission that covered more than 160 million kilometers in orbit. Re-entry temperatures peaked at nearly 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit on Tuesday, and then beneath a large orange and white parachute, the charred capsule floated down through the cold Kazakhstan skies. Astronauts were landed gently on the snow-covered area.
Sergei Ryzhikov, out of the Soyuz, 603 days in space, good for 13th on the all-time list. A good view of the Soyuz commander, Sergei Ryzhikov. Back on Earth after 245 days in space.
The Soyuz spacecraft undocked from the International Space Station late Monday night. The spacecraft was drifted away as the station flew 422 kilometers above eastern Mongolia. A few hours later, its braking rockets fired, slowing the capsule enough to drop it into the Earth's atmosphere. The NASA astronaut was gifted a traditional Russian doll. This is a traditional Russian souvenir. It's also known as a Russian nesting doll. It consists of multiple dolls of decreasing size placed one inside another. The doll Jonathan Kim was presented with had his face painted on it, as well as the flag of the United States. During his 245 days in space, Johnny Kim completed 3,920 orbits. 3,920 orbits of Earth, supported dozens of scientific experiments. He says it's a remarkable chapter for the Navy SEAL turned doctor turned astronaut, whose journey has already spanned war zones, medical school, and now outer space. The astronauts launched to the space station on April 8, and this mission marked the first space flight for both Kim and Zubritsky. While Rezikov completed his third journey to space, logging a total of 603 days in space. In fact, while on the space station, the astronauts helped with many experiments. They studied how bioprinted tissues with blood vessels behave in space, tested controlling multiple robots from a distance, and worked on making DNA-like materials in space that could help improve future medicines and treatments. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will see many firsts, including hydration breaks in every match. There will be breaks in each half of the games to counter the heat at the Showpiece event next summer. The tournament is being held across the US, Canada, Mexico. FIFA said the measure is being introduced to prioritize player welfare. A 3-minute hydration break will take place after 22 minutes of each half, and it will happen regardless of the weather conditions. FIFA says it is being done to ensure equal conditions for all teams in all matches, and added that it is a streamlined and simplified version of an earlier practice of having breaks after 30 minutes over a certain temperature threshold, which was 32 degrees Celsius. The decision was finalized at the weekend, where national team coaches and many broadcasters had congregated for the World Cup draw in Washington, D.C. on Friday. It received support from all parties, including FIFA's medical team. The breaks will also allow coaches to use the time to discuss tactics with players. The change will also be a hit with broadcasters in particular, since it allows for more ads. Experts have warned reportedly that high temperatures next summer could affect even fans and stadium workers. Remember, the tournament will be held in June and July next year. In 2025, the US underwent a heat wave during the summer. Parts like Philadelphia, Boston, New York City experienced record summer temperatures of around 38 degrees Celsius. All these parts are hosting matches at the World Cup. And the rule change comes after heat and humidity seriously impacted players during several games at this year's Club World Cup in the United States. Some games touched 38 degrees Celsius. At that tournament, FIFA lowered the threshold for cooling or water breaks and also placed more water and towels around the edge of the field. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will feature 48 teams and is also happening in 3 countries simultaneously for the first time. The World Cup draw took place on Friday, and it was attended by the heads of the government of all 3 host nations, including US President Donald Trump. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off, leaving you with Gravitas Worldview. Thanks for watching.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and